Okay, so Mark Twain said, never regret anything that makes you smile, which is a lovely way to start this conversation with Michael Morrow, who's the director, the jack of all trades, would you say, janitor, architect, archivist, you name it.
Gardener.
He works with the West Kentucky African American Museum in Russellville, Kentucky. And so obviously that's something that brings you joy, brings a smile to your face.
Yeah, I really enjoy it. I never in my life would have believed that I was doing it. If you told me 20 years ago I'd be running a museum, I'd have laughed at you and walked off. I never thought it, but you never know where God's going to lead you.
And so take us there. If I were to go to the museum, what would I find?
You'd find exhibits on different African Americans who lived in the area and eked out a living from the Civil War to now. And it would tell about blacks who fought in the Civil War, the segregated African American schools here in Logan County, Alice Allison Dunnigan, the first black woman in the White House press corps, and a lynching that occurred here in 1908.
So,
and Marianne Fisher, who they called the Songbird of the South.
oh, Marianne Fisher, that's a whole other story. She used to sing with Ray Charles.
Mm-hmm.
And there's rumor, or is it fact, that they might have had a little relationship?
Well, in the papers, we got her papers from a niece in Louisville, and from reading those, they probably had a relationship. She said that every time they met up, they would have to argue first, then they'd make up.
They'd argue and then they'd make up. So Ray Charles probably spent some time here in Russellville.
Well, no, he went to Bowling Green because, see, she wasn't originally from Russellville. She was from Henderson. And after her father got killed and her mother put him up for adoption, they went to Louisville. And a woman named City Merritt, who ran a restaurant here, adopted her. And that's how she ended up in Russellville.
That's how she came to be here. You know, we were talking about the neighborhood yesterday when we chatted on the phone, and just how the neighborhood used to be the family. Mm-hmm. What happened?
Well, urban renewal came through, and then you had people who became politicians who decided that the area was quote unquote bad. And then on top of that, you had blacks to buy into that, and that changed the whole neighborhood, you know. When I came up, like I said, it was family. Most everybody down there were kin to you, so if you've done something wrong on this end of the street, people may come out of the house and whoop you all the way home. You know, man,
Not just your family, but everybody in the neighborhood. I love it. I love it. Do you think that'll ever come back?
I think it's a thing of the past, you know. Time very seldom goes back. It's one of those things that made us strong as a people, but our people didn't see how it made us strong, so they let other people destroy it.
And so it's what you're doing right now in Russellville, Kentucky, is you're preserving your ancestral home.
Exactly. I think it's worth preserving, you know. The first African Americans that came down there was in the 1830s. So we've had African Americans in the area ever since the 1830s. And you've had very unique people. You had Walker Blackburn, the first, I thought I cut this thing off, the first U.S. Marshal for the, Deputy U.S. Marshal for the state of Kentucky. Had C.C. Vaughn, who was a preacher, teacher, Civil War soldier, friend of Frederick Douglass and Booker T. Washington.
Friends of Frederick Douglass and Booker T. Washington.
Mm-hmm. You had Dunnigan, you know, she came
Now,
from
Alice
down there.
Dunnigan, that's an interesting story. They just recently completed a statue of her, and it's in the museum right now in Washington, D.C. And she was the first African-American woman to be a part of the Presidential Press Corps. That was huge. That was in, was it with Eisenhower? Was it President Eisenhower that she covered? Truman. Yeah. So she was on the train with them when they went and did their...
She done the 48 whistle to stop too.
That's unbelievable.
And like I said, she was from down, she lived in that area for a while. So you had all these people that come out of the area that done all these things that none of us really knew about. And once I started finding it, I started documenting it because it shocked me. Nobody never told me. You know, you just ran up on different stuff that told how unique the people were and how unique the area was.
The area now, there's where a lot of these buildings, physical buildings are located, where the museum is located, they call it the Bottoms?
Actually, they call it the Black Bottom, and I've caught a lot of cane about that. When in 2007, we had it put on the National Register of Historic Places, and they said, "What do you want to name it?" And we told them the Black Bottom, and somebody said, "Well, why are you gonna call it Black Bottom? That's racist." Blah 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 blah. What we done, we went back and called it what it was called from the end of slavery. And all those newspaper articles, they never referred to it as the Bottoms. They called it the Black Bottom. And they said the residential area where Negroes live. So we just took it and had it named what it was called right after the Civil War.
You know, I should mention, this is Coffee Near Me. I'm Barbara Deeb. We're talking with Michael Morrow, who's the director of the West Kentucky African American Museum in Russellville, Kentucky. And we're hanging out in Russellville today. We're at the Flying Pig. We're having coffee, you're having some tea, good stuff, right? And, you know, we'd love for you to continue the conversation with us. You can do so in the comments section. If you were to say out loud what you think the most interesting part of the museum is, could you do that?
The archive.
The archives.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah, archives. We got everything. We just, it's everything there. It's Civil War soldier letters, it's shackles, you name it, it's there. And it deals with the history of African Americans, not only in Russellville, but in the region. And we have some things that deal with African Americans across the state.
Across the state, too. Here we are, it's 2018. How far we've come, how far we have to go.
In terms of how far we come as far as African Americans and how far.
As people.
Well, as people, as a nation, we've come a long way. Sometimes tell young people that when you look at America, you have to understand that she makes mistakes. First mistake, she didn't include all people to vote. The poor whites couldn't vote. It got remedied. The next mistake was black men couldn't vote. It got remedied. Then women couldn't vote. It got remedied. Then the 18-year-olds couldn't vote. It got remedied. So eventually, I think we solve our problems. It just takes time.
Michael Morrow, the Executive Director of the West Kentucky African American Museum in Russellville, Kentucky. A special thanks to you for talking with us, and of course to you for watching. And remember, you can continue the conversation in the comments section. This is Coffee Near Me. I'm Barbara Deeb. Cheers. Cheers. You do cheers?
Yeah.
How about it?